Hello YouTube. I hope you had a fabulous day. Today was a really nice day. I hope you enjoyed the weather. And if you didn't, hopefully you enjoy tomorrow. But I wanted to talk about an awesome movie that I saw, a message from Brianna on BET. I was like, I just have to talk about this movie because it's so freaking good. Like it's just on another level. Like whoever wrote it is very transparent. Whoever wrote it, they probably have some family secrets like we all do. It's just so good. Like you just have to, if you have BT Plus, please watch A Message from Brianna. First of all, the girl from Bruh is in it. So as the movie starts, she's like a urban wife, got a nose ring. She's playing like a young wife, a young mom. Clearly she's not the age she's playing. Like I know she gotta be like my age or older. I'm 34, but in this movie they wanted her to be a young mom. I guess because of the reaction she had. I think a lot of moms, and it's so good because it's so real and it's so relatable. Me personally, I can't relate to it, but I know that a lot of people could relate to it because this doesn't just go on for demon possession. It's just your child in general. I've never really had any issues with my son, but I think any young mom, if we could be brutally honest, have had thoughts of giving them away, whether it be abortion, adoption, or anything else. And so the mother is faced with a decision that's so hard, and it's like you can't help but to feel empathy for the mother and the father too, because he's in the home and stuff. But it's just such a good movie because it's like, oh my god, what would you do? And it's definitely a family movie that everybody could sit down and talk. So boom, the movie starts out, they're a happy married couple, they have a daughter, and her name is Brianna. Now they set up cameras in the house, I guess for security reasons, and so things started happening that were kind of weird. So the husband, I don't want to say he's slow, but he's like your typical guy. He doesn't remember things, or like he tries, like he's a good man and stuff like that, but he does stuff like drinks orange juice from the carton. She's like, why are you doing that? And so he'll forget things, or he'll forget to feed the dogs and stuff. And so they have moments where she's like, oh my god, you didn't do this, and go feed the dog. So she's very like a little mean to him. So you see that in the movie. And basically Brianna is possessed. So they're both God-fearing people. They go to church every Sunday. However, they don't pray, which I thought was so weird, but it's so common because I know people like that. They go to church but they don't pray. So when they realize something's wrong with Brianna, so one day the mother is playing with Brianna and the pillow gets thrown on her face and she can't breathe, and she know that Brianna didn't do it, and there's handprints on the pillow. So then she notices Brianna's just possessed, and she's actually running from her daughter. And I looked at that as a metaphor because it happens with a lot of us as parents, where there's a situation and we're running from it instead of dealing with it. And as a mother, and what I've taught myself, you have to pray over your child. So they call a pastor, they call their pastor, and the pastor's like, yo, are you guys praying? Are you guys reading the word? Are you because they're like, hey, we don't know what to do. So they call on a pastor. I want to say from my own experience, when it comes to any situation, it's good to call on God and pray for yourself, because people are human and they may not be able to pray for you. They may not be able to come to your house, right? But it's a movie, so he comes to the house, right? So he comes to the house and Brianna is possessed, and him being a spiritual man, he dealt with it and for that moment. But he's like, yo, there's a spirit that's possessing your little girl. It's not your little girl. So another incident, the father, he's alone with Brianna because the mother's getting frustrated or whatever. I think she was like, I'm going to the spa. Something she said. He's like, you drinking? She's like, I don't know what to do. Da 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 da. So she leaves and she goes to the spa or somewhere. She's just not home. So he's home alone with the little girl, and the little girl starts her possession again. And he notices his dead sister, trying to get to his daughter. So it made him think, like, I gotta go back to my lineage now. I gotta find out why my sister is trying to haunt my daughter. So he has so many questions. So at this point, he goes to his grandfather. Now his grandfather, unfortunately, is in a mental house. It's like a house taking care of mental patients. And so the lady warns him, like, he hasn't had a visitor in 15 years. I don't know why you think he's going to talk to you, but you got 20 minutes. So he goes up there, and the grandfather reveals to him that he raped his sister and she was pregnant at the time of death. There was a pregnancy test on the table and the grandmother killed her. She came back and killed the grandmother. The boy had no idea that this had happened. All he knew is that the grandfather, he was looking at his sister undressed one day, and the grandfather was like, oh, we got the same taste. That same night he raped her. He had no idea that his sister was raped or anything like that, or her death. Like, he didn't know any of that until his grandfather told him so many years, because he wanted to know, why is my dead sister after my daughter? He wanted to know that. So the grandfather reveals the family secret that nobody knew. So after the secret is revealed, later on, stuff keeps happening. And so the wife is like, I cannot take this anymore. We need to give her up. And you kind of, as you're watching the movie, it's like, it makes you think, like, what would you do? What would you do? And that's why I'm a big believer in prayer. And you have to christen your baby. When they're first born, you have to christen them. I'm such a big, huge believer in that. And I really believe it's your duty to pray over the demons, because everybody has some type of something in their family, whether they want to admit it or not. It may not be incest, it may not be that deep, but we all come with something, right? And you don't want to pass that on to your children. So my son was christened when he was 5 months old. I prayed over him. Now that he's older, I pray with him. Do we pray every night? No. Sometimes we slack, but I'm a big, huge believer in prayer. And that's what this couple lacked. Like, they believed in the pastor, but they didn't necessarily believe in prayer. So she's like, I can't take this anymore. We're going to give her up, right? So they drove her to a church and they dropped her off at the church, and the father was distraught. He's like, I don't want to, we giving up our baby. She's like, she's demon possessed. Like, I can't do this no more, and that it doesn't have to be demon possession. Like, what about people who have kids that have really special needs, or, your child could have any type of problem. It's kind of like one of those, what would you do as a parent? You can't help but feel sorry for them, as parents, even though it's a movie, but it really gets you to thinking, like, what would you do? So because she's demon possessed, she finds her way back into the house, and she finds out that she's pregnant, the mother. And so the baby takes the pregnancy test, puts it in her mouth, and the sister Crystal, her name is she kind of overtakes the 2-year-old, the daughter that they left. And then, like, the scene, the way it ended, it gotta be a part 2. It has to be. So the way it ends, right, the wife is demon possessed and she turns into Crystal. So Crystal, was inside of her. And right before they gave the baby away, Crystal was playing with her mind, and Crystal made it seem like she was messing with. It was just so nasty. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, Crystal possessed the mother, and then the next scene, the husband is thanking the pastor, like, thank you for coming over, da 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 da. And the pastor was like, yeah, y'all be all right, da 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 da, stuff like that. And then you see the mother and the daughter on the roof. Not on the roof, but kind of like the second part of the house. So it's like, are they dead? Like, and then the grandfather is walking down the street. He was in the mental house. How is he fully dressed, hat on, tilted his hat? Like, the way it ended, it was like, what's going on? Like, the grandfather is not in the mental house. The wife and the child is not standing with him. They standing on top of, not the roof, but nobody stands there. So it's like, why are they standing there? The way it ends, it was just really weird. He was thanking the pastor. So it's like, is the family back together? Are they happy? It's like, the way it ended, it was like, oh, is there a part 2? But yes, a message from Brianna. I hope you guys watch it. Sit down, watch it, and have an open discussion with your family. It might bring out some old, heavy, deep wounds. So I must warn you, you might be crying afterwards. But yeah, my light had turned off for a second. But yeah, so yes, I could imagine a movie like A Message from Brianna. I must warn you, if you're not ready for certain topics like incest and stuff, be careful with the topic, because it's a very sensitive topic in the Black community. And I was explaining to my son, like, there's too many people I know that have been raped by family members. There's too many people that walk around with demons inside of them. So the movie, although it's exaggerated because it's a movie, it's real. And it opens up a lot of discussions, issues that we have in the Black community. There was a scene in there where the mother, her mental health wasn't right. She started seeing Crystal. And she started seeing Crystal having sex with her husband. Crystal wasn't there. Crystal's a spirit, but this is what the wife was seeing. And she's like, we gotta get rid of this baby. You know, so mental health is very important. The movie is just good. Like, I wish it was in the theaters. I wish everybody knew about it, because it is so deep. It's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Really, really long time. I've seen a few good movies in the past 2 weeks on Tubi. Always and Forever. Oh my God, that movie is good too. Make a long story short about that movie, a group of girls was making fun of a boy. He almost drowned to death, came back and married the girl and tried to kill her. So that movie is just, don't tease people. But Tubi has a lot of good movies too, y'all. But BET is on a roll. Message from Brianna. Please, please, please watch it. And Tubi has a few movies too. Always and Forever is really good too. I've seen it like 3 times. That movie is really good too. Best Friend is good, because a lot of guy friends, they crazy. So Tubi is like the new TV one. It really is. BET, you doing your thing too. But yeah, Message from Brianna, must see.